Recently, I got a couple of questions in the comments about the hook and how to basically improve the hook, how to stop your fingers, feeling painful. So today I'm joined by Mike Pitt again, and we're going to talk about this in great depth. Thank you for joining
Hello,
me, Mike,
Ash.
again.
Always a
Good.
pleasure to be here.
Yeah, it's good to see you. So I saw a couple of comments. I can't remember what video it was. Maybe it was the tab video we did a while ago. But a couple of people were saying about how to stop their fingers slipping on the hook, how to stop their fingers hurting on the hook, which is another one as well, and just generally asking about hook technique. So I kind of wanted to cover today 5 main tips to improve your hook.
Okay.
And I wanted to get started by, before we get into those 5 tips, I just wanted to give an example. I've got a video and a picture. Maybe I'll just bring the picture up here of what a hook looks like when it's not great. So I'll bring that up here.
Is it a picture
I'll
of
go
me?
with the I'll go with the video first. So this is actually a video of me shooting from a long time ago, which I'll share now. So that should be up on the screen so everyone can see it. But what I wanted to show in this video is there's a number of issues with my technique at this point, and shows the age a little bit with the biter rods, but still.
It certainly
The
does.
hook, yeah, the hook. One of the main things in this video is the hook that's not great, and you can see there's a couple of things that comes from it. The hook looks a little bit too deep. I'm trying to grab the string a little bit. Maybe from this angle it doesn't look too bad, but as a result of the hook, you have this kind of kink here in the wrist. It's slightly blocked by the watch, but this kink in the wrist then basically means I'm essentially grabbing the string with my hand, and there isn't really a connection between the hook on the string to the elbow joint at the back, and then finally to the scapula and the back muscles. So in terms of the overall shot and then the alignment, because of this hook not being great, if I now play the video, you'll see a less than ideal release. Basically, the fingers come out, there's a collapse on the release a little bit, this elbow collapses a bit, and then if you watch the elbow on the release, if you watch the path of the elbow, it goes very much down, not around the body like you see so many, top archers have it going around the body. It's kind of a bit weak here. You can also see the bow going to the right as well as a result of essentially that collapsed release. If you're enjoying this video and want step-by-step guidance from me to improve your technique, check out my Online Archery Academy video courses. Go to onlinearcheryacademy.com, click Explore the Courses for a special discount. Now back to the video. So I wanted to show that video just to kind of outline the problem, I guess, of the release and how it can kind of show what not to do. The first tip that I want to give people with that is if I roll my sleeve up a little bit, when you're doing the hook, the main thing you want to think about with the wrist and this back of the hand is you want that relaxed. So in the video, you saw me essentially doing this, and that's where this kink in the wrist came from, and then my elbow was down, and then on release it's kind of essentially it was doing this, wasn't it? So in order to not do that, in order to connect the back, you have to then go from this position to more like this position, flat knuckles, flat back of the hand, and you're looking to avoid that. This
It's amazing how much that moves
kinking,
your elbow. Looking from above, we would see your elbow expanding a
yeah,
considerable amount. Yeah, I don't know if you're aware of it. It really does make a difference to where your elbow finishes up at full
it's a
draw, massively.
huge amount, isn't it? And
Yeah,
one of
which
the
then is going to
cues,
help mean that you're not with that crunched up. It's going to be stopping you really getting into the best alignment, and hence all of these issues you're talking about. But yeah, it makes a big
yeah,
difference, and showing it on the camera like that really does demonstrate it rather well.
and I think one of the reasons, maybe you've had this with your archers as well, one of the reasons people end up doing this is they might look at their draw elbow. If I move back slightly, you might be able to see this better, but they look at their draw elbow in this position and they worry like, oh, is that a little bit high? I have a lot of people that are concerned about the height of their draw elbow, and the answer is no, it's not too high. But if you try and lower it and you end up doing this, actually
Too
you've
much
just
tension.
engaged, you can't really see it because I've got a shirt on, but you've engaged your bicep more and you've just engaged your wrist, and you've basically moved all that tension from your back onto the front side of your shot, and on release you're just going to pluck it. Essentially you're just going to do that. So that's the first tip I wanted to give, is focusing on that wrist being relaxed and looking at that line. You can very visually easily see that when you're working on it, So yeah, did you have any thoughts on that, or did you kind of want to go on to your kind of tip for the next bit?
I think you covered that really well. So what I would like to talk about, and something I regularly get questions still about, is about the depth of hook. Because there's still sometimes come across this discussion about whether the string will deflect less if we just hold it on the tips, or whether we're going to go into the first joint, or even I've had people asking whether they should go to the second joint. And I just wanted to talk about that because I know for me at the beginning of my recurve career, coming from 10 years with compound, I didn't really know what to do with my fingers at all. So I was very much open to influence and looking for advice. And sadly, one of the first bits I got advice from was a lovely picture of the latest win athlete to win a gold medal. And in her picture, which was a big, like 3 foot high, meter high poster, you could see that her fingers were well and truly past the first joint and heading towards the second one. And it was an incredibly deep hook. Now, as someone who knew nothing about hooks, I took that as a guide because she's an Olympic gold medalist. I should try and copy her.
Yes, fair.
And in years to come, or even a few months, I think it was when I was working with the British coach, it was pointed out to me that they knew she was holding the string like that because the photographer had asked her to draw up her bow and hold it for 1 or 2 minutes, so they could get numerous shots. So my lesson there is don't be influenced by PR shots. Luckily now we can go online and we can probably watch the Olympic final, we can watch the World Archery Finals. But back then when you just got a few photos of athletes shooting, I was rather influenced by a PR photo. So that's my lesson learnt. But then I was like, so where should I have it? Because as an engineer, I like the idea of having the string on the tips of my fingers because there's less finger for the string to go round. There should be less deflection. My arrow should bend less. Maybe I can use a weaker spine and have extra arrow speed. I can understand why my young engineering brain went down that path. But as every other subsequent Olympic gold medal winning coach I've worked with has told me, you want to have the deeper hook because it puts less tension in the fingers. So even though there's more finger behind the string, when you do go to release and you do relax those fingers, the finger is much more relaxed more quickly and the string is able to pass, so we get less string deflection with the deeper hook than we do on the holding it on the tips of our fingers. And when I now try to draw the string with the tips of my fingers, I can feel the tension, and I know exactly what the coaches are talking about. And I must admit, for me, when I did work on that deeper hook, so we're just into that first joint, when I did move to this, my ability to hold extra draw weight came within a few weeks because my hand felt like a hook. And as Lloyd Brown likes to say, it's like a door hinge going round the string. When you've got the hinge fully, when you've got the string on the joint of the hinge, you're able to take much more load. You're able to relax the hand, which again feeds into what you were just saying before. And it has quite a large knock-on effect. Just by changing your hook, sometimes relaxes the hand, straightens the wrist, and it allows you to come round more. And you can end up improving your alignment by actually taking the string further onto your fingers. It's a bit counterintuitive, but now that sort of deeper hook, which I'd now called the standard hook, really is the most common hook out there. And I don't know of any world-class athletes who have the string on their fingers.
It's very rare, isn't it? And when you say deeper, just to kind of solidify that for people watching, where would you normally, for you, place the string in the fingers?
So for me, it's in that first joint. The top finger is exactly in the joint. The middle finger, it just goes 2 millimeters, 3 millimeters closer into the hand past the first joint. So when it comes to calluses, which we'll talk about in a little while, when it comes to calluses, this is the kitty I have to look after because the top one lines up perfectly on the joint, the middle one goes a little bit deeper, and the bottom one is on that first joint as well. But for me, that top one, because the fingers are a little bit different lengths, that has to go just that little, literally 3 millimeters deeper.
Yeah.
How was it for you?
Completely agree. So for me, it was joint, slightly behind the joint, and then the other one was just slightly in front of the joint onto the pad, but like a minor amount. And you could argue, looking at my videos of me shooting, that I could have benefited from a little bit more into the third finger, but we'll get onto that.
Hindsight is a wonderful thing.
Yeah. But no, I think that's really good. And there's one kind of point I'd like to pick up on that, which is, I've mentioned this before in maybe previous videos, but people get confused a little bit between, because I think you're right, saying a deeper hook, now really that is just the standard hook.
A hook.
When people hear, when people hear deeper, I've had some people try and go to that second joint like you mentioned. But this is where I make the distinction between what a deep hook is and a secure hook. So, for example, with your pencil there, you could put the string in the groove of the fingers like this, and depending on where you have them, so this would be the hook that you were mentioning, which is either, deeper or normal, whatever we call it now, but you've got this hook. If you feel like you've got the string in the right place, but you feel like your hook isn't secure, you can make the hook more secure just by curling the finger digits more, but you can still have the string in the same place sometimes.
Yeah.
So this is where some people get a little bit confused. They feel like, oh, my fingers are slipping from the string, that kind of thing. So I say, like, get a secure hook in that first joint, essentially, like you were saying, because that way you don't need to feel like you're kind of teasing the string a little bit and just like holding it out. And you can really see that. I've got some pictures in a little bit that I can bring up, but you can see that you want those fingers to be pointing back. If you look at your hook from behind and people see their fingers, that they're kind of like this, kind of pointing to the camera, that's probably going to be like the string might be in the right place, but you're not actually secure with the hook. And yeah, we'll kind of get onto points during the expansion about that later, because I think there was something you wanted to mention about that as well. So yeah, I think that's really good. So the next point that brings me on nicely to is my next thing here was, you don't actually need for your hook to have the string groove perfectly straight against the metal of your tab. So to kind of show that, I've got a picture here of a tab that I'm going to put up on the screen. So we'll bring that up now. And this is Kim Woo-jin's tab here. So a good tab to look at. But the thing that I wanted to highlight is you don't need the string groove to be perfectly lined up with the metal here. Some people think I can... Yeah, as you can see, it's not quite in line, is it? So some people, when I first started shooting, some people told me that I needed the string groove like this, where the red line is. And what that is going to do, or what it actually did, if you remember that video I showed you earlier, that's what it caused. The exact reason for that is what is happening here. If you try and get your string groove like this, you're going to end up ramming those bottom fingers. You're going to end up basically kinking your wrist, and it's not going to be great. It's going to be really difficult to get a good hook. As you can see, having the string groove further forward is much better. So you actually want Kim Woo-jin's...
And I want to say, I don't want people to take blame for this, because I believe when I used to purchase that tab, it's exactly the tab I used to shoot when I first went into recurve, and the book was telling you that was a feature of the tab.
Does it? Okay.
The actual instruction manual, I don't know if they still come with an instruction manual, but that was when it was Cavalier Archery, before it became AAE Cavalier. They used to actually tell you that was a reason to buy that tab, because it was the first tab of this sort of platform design. Now this has become the basis for 90% of tabs to sort of be inspired by. But yeah, that was actually a feature telling you to do that, which is probably why so many people wanted to go in that direction.
It's me again here. If you don't want to join the courses just yet, but you want help from me, sign up to my free weekly newsletter by putting your email address in at onlinearcheryacademy.com and clicking join now. Or click become a member to join my online membership community, where you can get access to loads of exclusive content, plus ask questions directly for me to answer in Q&A sessions. So check that out if you want to. And now back to the video. Yeah. And if anyone's watching at home now, you can just test this for yourself on the, watching on the sofa or whatever, wherever you're watching. On the tube, it might look interesting if you're on the tube, but or the subway for people not in London. But do this just with your fingers and just test, like, okay, I'm going to pretend that I've got the string groove and I'm going to try and keep it. And it does exactly that thing that I was showing earlier. It just rams that down. Horrible. You can test it out for yourself. Close your eyes and feel what it does. Massive, massive difference. So having that angle is actually good. and you don't need to worry about getting this perfect string line. So yeah, that was my kind of point, or maybe that was more of a rant, I'm not sure. But yeah, what was your
Don't blame the athlete, blame the instruction manual, okay?
Exactly, yeah. Blame the tab instruction.